We will be starting on page 246, where Brother Fowles comes to visit the Price family at their home in the Congo. Ruth May, who had been up out of bed for a few days and seemed to be out on the mend, was so enraptured with him, she sat with her head practically leaning up against his worn-out trousers. The old man rested a hand on Ruth May's head and listened very closely to everything Mother said, nodding thoughtfully in a way that was quite complimentary. His wife was approximately 100 years younger than him and attractive in her own way, and was mostly quiet, but she could speak English perfectly. They asked how things were going down at the church. Father was out somewhere looking for trouble, as usual, and we hardly knew how to answer that question ourselves. Mother said, "Well, it's difficult. Nathan's very frustrated. It's all so clear to him that the words of Jesus will bring grace to their lives, but people here have such different priorities from what we're used to." "They are very religious people, you know," the old man said, "for all that." "How do you mean?" Mother asked. "Everything they do is with one eye to the Spirit. When they plant their yams in manioc, they're praying. When they harvest, they're praying. Even when they conceive their children, I think they're praying." Mother seemed very interested, but Leah crossed her arms and asked, "Do you mean praying to their own pagan gods?" Reverend Santa smiled at Leah. "What do you imagine our God thinks of this little corner of his creation? The flowering trees in the forest, the birds, the drenching downpours, the heat of the sun. Do you know what I am talking about?" "Oh yes," Leah said, straight A pupil as always. "And do you think God is pleased with these things?" "Oh, I think he glories in them," she hastened to say. "I think he must be prouder of the Congo than just about any place he ever made." "I think so too," he said. "I think the Congolese have a world of God's grace in their lives, along with a dose of hardship that can kill a person entirely. I happen to think they already know how to make a joyful noise unto the Lord a long time ago." Leah leaned back in her chair, probably wondering what Father would say to that. As if we didn't know. He'd say the Irish and them are well known to be Catholic papists and worshippers of the false idols. The business about the flowers and little birdies just clinches the deal. "Have you heard the songs they sing here in Kalanga?" he asked. "They're very worshipful. It's a grand way to begin a church service, singing a Congolese hymn to the rainfall on the seed yams. It's quite easy to move from there to the parable of the mustard seed. Many parts of the Bible make good sense here, if only you change a few words," he laughed. And a lot of whole chapters, sure, you just have to throw away." Now we will skip ahead to page 250, where Nathan Price enters the conversation. "I rejoice in the work of the Lord," said Brother Fowles. "I was just telling your wife, I do a little ministering. I study and classify the fauna. I observe a great deal, and probably offer very little salvation in the long run." "That is a pity," Father declared. "Salvation is the way, the truth, and the light. For whoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. And how then shall they believe in him if they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them who preach the gospel. Bring glad tidings to the poor. Glad tidings to the widows. That is wow, Father told most of them to do not. Certainly I do not understand this public job. I take to heart the lesson of this. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and thou shalt be saved, and thy house. And they spake and word to all that were in his house. Paul and Silas to their jailer. Yes, after the I've always been a little perplexed by the next verse. "And he took them the same hour of the night, and haven't got the time for dabbling in that kind of thing. When you're that busy, I'm sure it's interesting just the same. In keeping with that, you're quoted in there. Father Poisonwood teach me, for I said, the grace given unto me to every man is equal, not to give himself more help than God. For as we have many